Hey everybody, this is John. Welcome to the free video. Let's take a look at a couple of trades that I'm in. Tesla. So for Tesla, we're getting very, very close to a fire line, which is at 376. Obviously, a lot of high short interest in the stock. Doing a play here to see if we can get a little bit of a pop up and cash out as part of obviously if it can gap up, great, but if it gaps down, I would buy some. And I'm just looking for, just that thrust higher. And if we look here at Tesla, on a daily chart, obviously it's just on fire, but you can see how close we are getting to that fire line. And you can see that the volume here has been above average volume. Shorts are getting crushed, and when shorts are experiencing this much pain, the market is not going to let them out. So that's a good thing. Nvidia. So Nvidia, awesome trade today, and my gosh, I left a lot of money on the table, which is okay. Look, we did these options and they doubled, okay, and I got out when the stock was up like $4 today, because that was my target was actually $151.50, which was the 1272 extension, and it blew right through it. Hey, I'm not going to cry over spilt milk, made some money on it, but man, it's amazing how much this has been going. Now, another way to play this, though, is through AMD, and both of these are getting that nice action from that cryptocurrency kind of, mining revolution. And if you look at that on AMD, so on this one, it's a much smaller stock, so I can buy more calls. But what I did is I bought the $10 calls, and you can see they're still at the same price, that are 71 days out. Those are the August monthlies. But what I'm trying to do, and it may not work if this thing takes off, I'll get taken out. But now I'm selling next week's 1350 call, which is right at the expected move. And in a perfect world, what happens is that the stock closes at like $13.45 next week. These expire worthless. I get to keep this income and then continue to ride this one higher. Now, for some reason it explodes. Okay, that's fine, because the risk. Well, here we can look. All right, so there's not risk if it goes higher than I think it will. Okay, I just get capped out right here because of the way it's structured. Obviously, if it goes down, I lose money. But the main point here is that if it does explode higher, you can see my gains are just kind of capped right around in that level, right at that strike. So there we go. And that's fine. So again, in a perfect world, this expires worthless. I get to keep this, and I sell the next week's, and I keep doing that over and over and over again, kind of like a rental property. Okay. Okay, so I want to do an update on my account because I've had a lot of people asking me about this. And so, again, I started the year at $117,000. You can see right now the balance is $778,000. Okay, and look, I just to be transparent, so you can see this is a real account. There's the time. This is not a graphic. There's my account number. And if I scroll down, it shows, my P&L year to date is $777,000. Wow, that's a lucky number. I should take a screenshot of that. And then also, so what I did in my plan this year was this. Okay, my goal was to grow at 10x, and once I got to 400,000, okay, from that point on, I would start wiring out 2.5% a week. Okay. And this is a snapshot of my statement from May. God, these things are impossible to read. So it started at 415,000 at the beginning of May. It ended at 655. Okay, and so I show each month like that, just kind of how how it's worked. And I've got a spreadsheet that literally tracks this. This is not the most sophisticated tool on the planet, but my goal again was once I got to $497,000, which that was close enough. At that point, I wanted to start wiring out 2.5%. Now you'll see that this week, I wired out 10. I made 13 total. So I made 13,000, wired out 10, which is 2.5% of that. And so then, my new balance is that. And then the next week, it was a huge week. And if you guys remember, there was a weekly squeeze on the NASDAQ, which we totally took advantage of. So my new balance here was 550. So I wired out 2.5% of that, but I kept the difference. And so there's my new balance. And I did lose money that week, Wednesday, when the markets kind of crashed, but it was only 3%. So in this, I made 3% here. Of course, that was an amazing week. Lost 3%. Okay, now 11%. And then I started Okay, where am I now? Okay, so that was last week, wired out 18, so we ended up at 752 minus 18 takes us to 733. So now we'll see where I am on Friday. And then what I do, and you can see here, this is my bank account where, I wire this out. So, there's the first wire I did, and the second, and the third, and the fourth, and it's a weekly wire. And so the goal with all this, and the reason this is important, is that there's and again, I just like to show proof. I mean, I'm trying something this year where it's like, okay, what is the right mindset if you want to exponentially grow an account? But then, more importantly, let's say that, okay, the exponential growth, that's great, but what if you're really just like, okay, 2.5% a week, that would be amazing, all right? How do you combine that, or how do you do just one of those? So I have prepared a class on this, and we're going to dive right into this the Saturday after next. I'll get the specifics here. But if you go to simplertrading.com/weekly, okay, you can get the details there. And you'll notice here that even though I'm up way more than 120%, my goal is to, at a minimum, on average, to make 2.5% per week. Okay, now you'll see that some weeks I made almost exactly that, right? So there was that one week where I made like 3%, great. But then there was another week where I made like 20%, which is great when it happens, but you can't plan for it. But you can plan for 2.5% per week. So what I do on this is that, if I make that 2.5%, great, I wire that out. But in a perfect world, you make 3%, okay? Because you wire out your 2.5%, yet your equity continues to grow. And as your equity continues to grow, your weekly wire increases, right? And so that's the beauty of this. So what I'm going to be talking about here is I've got some specific tools that I use for the income portion of this, okay? And I'm going to teach this in a Saturday class. That's the strategy, and that's $497, and I'll talk more about that. And then, as always, I like to do live trading. So this will be 3 days of live trading where I show the weekly, like, all right, my main goal is the 2.5%, and we're going to focus on that, but we're also going to focus on the setups that I'm using for those exponential gains, all right? So yeah, worst case scenario, let's make that 2.5%, but if we spot something, okay, because there's 3 setups I've been using this year for these bigger gains, and if we see those things, which we should, because they've been setting up all the time, we're going to do those as well, and we'll do that live. And every time I've done a class this year, the live trading has more than paid for the class, for the people that have done it. And then the elite one, and I'll talk more about that here in a second, but I mean, essentially all that is these trades I'm doing live, and I'm texting them out. So if you're seeing this and you're not a member of our gold plan, this is an opportunity to get 6 months membership to our gold plan as well, so that after the class you can start getting these trades texted to you, if you're at work, etc., etc. All right, so how this works, and I'll get you the dates here and everything too. But the strategy class is not till next Saturday. So that is Saturday, June 17th. Okay, so that's the strategy class. So not this Saturday, but next Saturday. And then the live trading will take place the following week, and that's going to be on the 19th, which is a Monday, and then the 22nd and the 23rd. And there's a specific reason why I'm doing Monday, Thursday, and Friday, which you'll find. And then, of course, there's this. So you'll see here the strategy class. We talk about all the strategy stuff. Plus, you get what I call the biweekly stats tool, which is the main tool I'm using for that weekly income. And then for the 3-day package, you obviously get the Saturday class, the bi-weekly stats tool, and then the weekly stats tool, which is a fun one. That's more for targets, and then, of course, the 3 live trading days. And then if you want to do the elite package, it includes all of that, plus 6 months access to our gold membership, where there's a live trading room if you're able to do this full time. And if not, you get all the trades texted to you, okay, which is pretty awesome. All right, so if you want more information, you can scroll down, just go to this page, /weekly, simplertrading.com/weekly. You'll get here, you can scroll down, for more information, call us, etc., etc. And again, this isn't until next Saturday, June 15th or June 17th. So you got plenty of time, but this is going to be a fantastic class. All right, looking forward to seeing you there, and have a good one.